Well, I was kind of there on a picture board. I was there, kind of. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure
But
he
you know,
feels
that
he's
was
super special.
It actually was a nice evening.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah, so it was nice.
Oh, that was quick.
Yes.
Jeez. I thought, well, I
Yeah,
was,
don't mess with us.
I guess not, because they were using your ass out of town. You all ran out like this. Oh my goodness. Do we know?
Yeah, Carl's here, so that's.
We're good. We're just missing Ben's name.
Ben won't be here, I don't think.
He's out of town right now. Oh, sorry. No, it's fine. I hope you enjoyed your Brunswick dinner.
I did, you weren't there.
Fast games.
I did, you weren't there.
No, I wasn't.
I enjoyed the beer too. Yeah. Mrs. G bought me a beer.
Hey, listen.
That's a salt.
Listen.
That's a salt.
I saw her first. I saw her first. See, all I have to do is, Mrs. Graham, I need money. And she's like, oh, let me get my purse. She gets her purse and she hands it to me. Ask anyone. We get it on film every time.
Oh, there we go.
I think somebody's pulling dirty shirts in here because they're all in a low floor. Yeah.
Before you think about that cookie, I want all the council members to see that.
Yes.
Get all my. Saving lives, making a difference.
I already talked on it too.
No, I only gave it to him because it's for the officers, so I provided him with the cookie so he could see what the officers got.
That'll be all. It is 6:30, Monday, May 7th, 2018. The City Council for the City of Woodland will be recessing into an executive session, RCW 42.30.110, Section H, to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate for appointment to elective office. City Council position number 7. Applicants include Michael Benjamin, John J.J. Burke, Scott Peabody, and Jennifer Rowland. This is for the vacated position by Councilmember Matthew Jacobs. It is 6:31. We'll be in session for approximately 20 minutes. All right. 7:01, we're going to start here, and we're just out of executive session, and we'll start here in 2 minutes.
Yes.
How are you?
Okay.
Are you going to come up and take that one? Or nobody else? I don't see any of your team members here.
Oh, are we, is this first or is that after? Oh my gosh. Get it together. Okay. Make sure I got it right. No, I'm making sure I'm not prematurely there.
Thank you.
Move my seat again. Chief, did you discuss my seat? Trying to make it pull a funny on me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Feels different. Feels like it went lower again. Where's Carl? I said 2 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Oh, please take your time. Absolutely. Just take your time. It's fine. Need to run out to your car or anything before we get started? Okay, just checking. All right. It is 7:04. It is Monday, May 7th, 2018, and this is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Woodland. If I can get everyone to please silence your cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Ripp, will you please take the roll?
Councilmember Graham?
Here.
Councilmember Brown?
Here.
Councilmember Plaza?
Here.
Councilmember Chapman?
Here.
Councilmember Hubbard?
Here.
Councilmember Fredericks?
Mr. Fredericks has called in. Chair will accept a motion to excuse Mr. Fredericks.
So moved?
Second. Moved by Councilmember Humber, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Will the clerk please take the vote to excuse Mr. Fredericks?
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza?
Aye.
Councilmember Graham?
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilmember Rand?
Aye.
Did you get them all? All right, Mr. Fredericks has been excused. All right. We have our chaplains with us this evening. Thank you for being here. I'll have you join me up here for National Law Enforcement Day Proclamation. Chief, would you like to join us as well? I don't see any of your guys here, so get in line here. Thank you for coming out this evening. Appreciate you being here. It's always nice seeing your faces and coming in and supporting our law enforcement folks on a daily basis, not just tonight, but every day. National Law Enforcement Day Proclamation, May 13th through the 19th, 2018. Whereas to recognize National Police Week 2018 and to honor the service and sacrifice of those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas, as approximately 900,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Woodland Police Department. Whereas there have been 58,627 assaults against law enforcement officers in 2016, resulting in approximately 16,677 injuries. Whereas since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 20,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. And whereas 360 new names of fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring, including 129 officers killed in 2017 and 231 officers killed in previous years. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all officers killed in the line of duty will be honored during the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund's 30th Annual Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13th, 2018. And whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of National Police Week, which takes place this year, May 13th through the 19th, and whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families, and the U.S. flag should be flown at half-staff. Now therefore, I, William A. Finn, Mayor, do hereby proclaim May 13th through the 19th, 2018 as Police Week in the City of Woodland, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and the communities across the nation. I further direct that pursuant to Public Law 103-322 that all flags be flown at half-staff on Monday, May 15th, 2018, Peace Officers Memorial Day, in honor of the fallen officers and their families, and urge all citizens to join me in this special observance. Thank you. It's not, it can be a thankless job, but it also can be a very rewarding job and a profession I hold very dear to my own heart. So I appreciate you being here. I'm going to pass this off. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Chief, as always, you bet. You do a great job. Thank you very much.
Chief, on behalf of the City Council of Woodland, on behalf of the college chaplaincy, we're privileged to pass this on to you, to your officer, and the recognition of all the firefighters.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. My honor.
I got halfway through that and started thinking about you. Oh, absolutely. Go ahead. Take over.
This is where I have my prepared sermon for the next 30 minutes. No. Actually, I just want to give you a thought. Most of our officers, when they are out in the field in uniform, have about an extra 30 pounds of gear on. When you figure in the vest that they're wearing, the utility belt that they're wearing, with all of the equipment that they have, you know, at the end of their shift, they take the weight of that equipment off, but the weight of the job stays with them. The weight of the job stays with them for years and years. We talk about post-traumatic stress disorder for our military, and those of us who have served in the military and have experienced that post-traumatic stress firsthand, sometimes as a community we put that emphasis on post-traumatic stress on our military solely, but our firefighters and our police officers do careers of 30 and 40 years and see trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma, and it becomes what we call cumulative post-traumatic stress. They take that equipment off at the end of their shift, but the weight of the job stays with them. It stays with their families many times. So we need to constantly remind ourselves that our officers need our support. Our officers need people to come alongside them. That's the privilege that we have as chaplains, is to come alongside of our officers and to get into their office, which is their patrol car, or into their station, and to take some of that burden and allow them a safe avenue to offload some of that weight. It's a privilege to work with these officers, and I just want you to know how privileged your community has to have such fine personnel within this community. Thank you.
And I'd like to recognize Mrs. Graham right now as well, as the wife of a law enforcement officer for many years. It's another aspect of the job that sometimes goes unrecognized for the support that these fine men and women have pushing behind them. So thank you for your service as well. All right. Mrs. Ripp, you want to come join me? I love these nights because I get to stand up here and talk a lot. I know, right? It doesn't happen very often. I wish I had 7 of these to do tonight, but I don't. Goodness. All right. We're also, in the month of May, celebrating Municipal Clerks Week. So I have a proclamation. Municipal Clerks Week, May 16th through the 12th, 2018. Whereas the office of Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. And whereas the office of Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, how true that is, the hub of the business. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organization. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. clerk. Now therefore be it resolved that I, William A. Finn, Mayor of the City of Woodland, Washington, do recognize the week of May 6th through May 12th, 2018 as the 49th Annual Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerks, Mary Ripp, Gina Anderson, and all the City of Woodland clerks, and to all the municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they respect. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Woodland, Washington to be fixed this 7th day of May, 2018. Thank you for all that you do. Yeah, we couldn't do it without you, seriously. We did this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. Another thankless job within all government. Yes, we couldn't do it without the dedication of our clerks. Did you mess with my chair? God, I just feel like somebody keeps messing with my chair. It's not sitting right tonight. I think somebody's messing with me tonight. I'm looking down there at the chief right now again. I wouldn't be surprised if he snuck up here. Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah.
Mayor?
Yes.
May I say a few words?
Yes, absolutely.
We did have a press release of this clerk's office. The City Hall is going to be hosting an open house on Thursday, May 10th from noon to 2 o'clock at City Hall. We invite the public to attend and come in person behind to see tours of City Hall, and hopefully you can come out and make it.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing that as well. Another job and coordination event that's one of many that your office takes care of. All right, citizen communication for items not on the agenda. I have Miss Melton Cox with us this evening. Have you step forward, say your name and your address.
Deborah Melton Cox, 1854 Springwood Street, Woodland. Okay. Last March, I came and talked to you, the council, about the water and garbage issue. And then on April 4th, I submitted a letter to all the council members and the city administrator. And then when I left in the very beginning of November, I had spoke with you at the last council meeting in October, and the account was going to be put on hold.
Okay.
And then Mr. Boyce called me about a week after I was down there and said that he had talked to you and got the word and the account was put on hold. Well, it was never put on hold. And I have all of the paperwork to show.
Okay.
So I can't do anything 1,200 miles away. So I would just like to know where we're at, what we're doing,
Okay.
go to hell, whatever, just something.
We would never say that. Right now, we're in the, by July, I want to say June or July, I can't remember, for fee schedule.
Well, it's going to be the finance committee in June.
Okay, so, and this is part of, so for those council members that are new, Ms. Melton Cox came to council and asked about removing a fee for a stop service, I'm going to get this wrong.
No.
Vacation stop. Leaving town and coming back, but in the process of being gone, still being charged the full rate.
Full
correct?
rates, yeah.
After a certain period of time had elapsed, even though services weren't being used. So internally, we just started discussing that, and that is going to be part of we're doing a fee schedule revamp, which will be coming to council, and I'll stop talking and let Mrs. Ripp take over.
We have a workshop scheduled, I believe. Well, we have a finance committee meeting scheduled in June, and then a workshop with council at the end of June, and then a public hearing in July. We also have adopted some draft language for the council to consider to the end of June.
Okay. I mean, I think that's great. I just would have appreciated knowing something and not being told that this was going to happen and it didn't. So, the ball's being dropped somewhere. And I would
Okay.
like to see our community a little more professional.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
I would like to be proud of everyone.
Okay, I will look into that and get back to you. All right. All right, any others in the gallery for items not on the agenda that failed to sign up? Now's your opportunity. All right, moving on to items on the agenda. No one has signed up. Now's your opportunity to step forward if you'd like to speak to items on the agenda. Okay. We've moved on to the portion for agenda approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Humberg, seconded by Councilmember Plaza. Will the clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Round,
Aye.
Councilmember Graham,
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman,
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard,
Aye.
Councilmember Plaza,
Aye.
All right, the agenda's been approved. Moving on to reports of City Council. Ms. Humberg.
Councilmember Downs and Councilmember Brown and I attended an AWC meeting in Kalama last week.
Yes.
The Small City Connector meeting. It was very interesting. There was people there representing towns from all over this part of Washington, and just to interact and to hear that everybody kind of has the same issues and the same problems. They gave us some ideas, and then the lady from the CURB program was there and spoke about how to get CURB grants and all the things that she did. And it was a very informative meeting, I felt.
Very nice.
I totally enjoyed it. I think that's what I want to talk about.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else?
Because now when I,
Is this you?
no,
Okay. Anything that you've done since the last time we've met or would like to share? Not your committee?
not my committee.
Not your
No.
committee.
Okay, all right. I think I'm good.
Okay. Mrs. Graham,
To share,
just anything to share?
just Planters Day's coming.
It's coming. It's coming. Ooh, there was a meeting, correct?
Yes.
The chief was there, and I'm assuming things are pushing right along
Yes.
beautifully. Okay. As always, Mr. Burke is in the gallery as well, which has a hand in that too. Thank you.
There is one thing I
Yeah.
would like to share.
Mrs. Rhodes.
The Rotary is putting on a golf tournament the 29th of June.
Yes.
And so anyone interested in putting a team together, please contact me.
Okay.
So,
Perfect.
or Joy at the bank.
Okay, perfect. All right. Moving on to reports of standing committees. Public Works. Who's our person?
Yes.
I look straight to Tracy, to Ms. Coleman.
and I look straight back to Carol.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry.
We had a Public Works meeting tonight, and we talked about the improvements for the booster station, received vital plans and specs to go out to bid to WTP improvements from G&O 424 of 18. And also, we have new staffing for WTP operator Bruce Slonker. Starts the 4/3 of 18 and will work from 8:30 till 5 Monday through Friday, beginning May 14th. The lift station number,
That's to help eliminate with overtime, correct? To save dollars?
Correct.
Is that the shift change? Okay.
we'll let Tracy fill in.
Sorry.
Anything
Sorry,
else.
I think that's a win, so I wanted to jump in there so everybody
Okay,
knew that.
Perfect. Lift station number 4 replaced one pump in March and ordered another pump to be replaced by June. Lift station number 11, 2 pumps procured and installed. Let's see. An intern was hired, intern position was hired. Emilio Foden started April the 26th and will work each Thursday until the 11th of June, and then will work full-time for 3 months. Transportation, it has gone to the Public Works Committee, Planning Commission, and a copy is kept at the counter, and it will be presented at the Chamber Luncheon on the 22nd of June. May.
Transportation improvement plan.
Yes, okay. And there will be a booth at Planners Day for anybody that wants input or has questions or anything, so. Okay, and The CDBG grant, we had $84,157. We received $24,000 more for sidewalks and ADA ramps. Another utility worker, we've hired a utility worker for two weeks ago, John Jenkins. A drug test was taken last week, and the start date is May 14th. He will be working from 8:30 to 5 after training for a short period. Planners Day, hanging baskets to be hung next week. Contracting with Cowlitz County for street sweeping. Fire department is moving in. So,
Yeah, right.
yes.
Is it happening?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
is happening, all right.
Okay.
2 more weeks, 2 more weeks. Oh, you're in? Okay. That's exciting stuff right there.
Let's see here, Gorig Park, they've used $7,550 of the impact fees. Someone put graffiti on the new benches and the picnic table, so they've had to sand that down and they put finish back on it. So it's still got ribbon around it because it's a little bit tacky still yet, so. Public Works Week is from the 20th to the 25th. They will be hosting an open house from 11:30 to 1, and there will be a barbecue. So, and I think that's all I'm going to report on, and I'll see if Tracy has anything else when it comes her turn. So.
Okay, we'll get to you. All right, thank you, Mrs. Rounds. Public Safety.
We met on April 16th. Chief Jackson discussed the proposed fire marshal services for the city of Woodland. Chief Kelly did a police department update. He updated us on Officer Uminski, who is doing well and is currently assigned to Officer Casey for his second phase of his FTO commitment. There we go. Vehicles and weapons. Chief Kelly discussed the previously ordered vehicles, SUV and pickup. The pickup has been received and is being equipped with the radio, emergency lights, and siren. The pickup should be completed in service this week.
Today.
Today?
Cool. And the SUV arrived at Columbia Ford, had to be repaired. It was damaged in transit, and the damage was a scratch in the paint. Once repairs are completed, the vehicle will be delivered to the city. Meeting adjourned to 4:58. Our next meeting is May 21st.
All right. Questions for Mrs. Humbert? I should have asked questions for Mrs. Rounds as well. I forgot, sorry. All right, we can take it out on Mrs. Coleman. And the chief. All right, Human Resources. Is that you? No.
It's been. Mr. Plaza?
Mr. Plaza, you're up.
Yeah, the last Human Resources Committee, we were pretty much down almost everybody, so we didn't discuss a whole lot, other than we're going to hold off on choosing a committee spokesperson until we have that final seat.
Okay.
That we have all the members for the committee.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Next meeting's on the 21st of this month.
I was just going to mention that Councilmember Fredericks reluctantly agreed to be the interim.
He reluctantly?
Councilmember
Heavy on the
Jacobs is
reluctant.
replaced, so-
Okay.
Reluctant because he's not here now, or?
No, he lost the argument.
He lost the rock, paper, scissors. Gotcha. All right. So
Rochambeau.
is that the only committee that still does not have a chair then? Is that correct? Okay. Perfect. Questions for Mr. Plaza? All right. Moving on to reports of city officers. I'll go first. This evening, council was given, what? I get 3 minutes. All right, I'll go fast. Council received the application packets for the 4 individuals who have applied for the vacated position by Mr. Jacobs. That's Michael Benjamin, Mr. John J.J. Burke, Mr. Scott Peabody, and Miss Jennifer Rowland. They will be interviewed at the next council meeting, time to be determined at this point. I'm thinking 6 o'clock, but we got to make sure that we're good to go with that. So we'll go into kind of a workshop application process. All the applicants will be interviewed at that time as well. moving on. Next council meeting as well, we'll be having an exercise directed by myself on flow chart process and what council would like to see when it comes to bringing things before council, how they feel public engagement should be administered, and what is appropriate flow for items being requested by myself or staff. So make sure that you come with your thinking cap on. We will have a diagram of what we've come up with as a team, and we'll be presenting that to you and then going through the same process with you as well to make sure that we're all in alignment, so we're not holding anything up, and we are all on the same page with transparency and process. The chief and I attended the Woodland Action golf tournament. Is that last week? Last Friday?
Last Friday, I think, was it?
Two weeks ago, something like that?
It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, that's right.
We haven't had a meeting yet. It was a great time. It was a wonderful event. I'm looking forward to next year, and it sounds like they raised a grip of cash, which is good, to help out our local center. Wonderful, wonderful time. It was a good time getting to know the chief a little bit better as well. So that was good. Also, I attended dinner up at the, I don't know, who brought this in? Or is this just a...
JJ.
Oh, JJ did. On May 17th, on Maple Ridge House, which is an Airbnb ran by Tim Welch and Lee, but I thought it was Lee Welch, but it's not. I can't remember her last name. Hutton, thank you. Tim Welch and Miss Lee Hutton run an Airbnb just outside of Woodland, and they invited my wife and I up there for dinner along with some other folks here in town. Beautiful facility. I encourage everyone, if you can, to attend the after-hours event on the 17th. Ramon's Taco Truck is catering, and it sounds like that should be a good time too, because he doesn't always make it up the hill, it doesn't sound like. You may need to grab your tacos and then go visit the property. So we'll see how that goes. We're all on pins and needles trying to figure out what's going on with that. Yeah. Questions for me? Oh, I've got one more announcement. I know I said 3 minutes. The boys soccer team, the high school soccer team, is doing amazing this year. This is the first time in Woodland history that they hosted a district playoff game. That happened on Saturday, and they will be heading to Olympia tomorrow to play Black Hills. So very excited for that. I may or may not have a stake in this game, but I'm just saying we're very proud of the boys that they've done this for the first time ever. So we're looking forward to the next handful of years with this amazing team of boys that are out there playing. So that's all. That's all I got. All right, Mr. Boyce.
Okay. First of all, I wanted to thank Tracy and the Public Works staff. They've issued the RFQ for the industrial area feasibility study. So that's gone through 3, now 3rd director. So we're happy to have that out, and things should start moving at a quicker pace. I'm still working on the overhaul for the budget. It's coming together. Also included in that is a longer-term financial plan, or financial analysis. So we're looking at a 5-year period. Police department union negotiations are ongoing. At the first meeting in June, we'll most likely be having an executive session with council and Dan Swedlow, our labor attorney. So that's coming up. One of the things we're going to start doing at the next Human Resource Committee meeting, we have 2 Teamster contracts that are going to expire at the end of this calendar year. So I'll be talking with the HR committee about what some possible proposals may be. So with that, we have the calendar of events. May 16th, Park Board meeting. That will be followed by 6 Rivers Trail Community Workshop here in the council chambers. May 22nd, Transportation Planning info at the chamber at noon. So that's the TIP plan to get some more public comment. May 23rd, Transportation Planning open house, public meeting at noon. here at council chambers. It says noon and 7 p.m., so there will be 2 meetings. June 4th, a public hearing on the transportation improvement plan, 7 p.m. June 18th, workshop regarding fee resolution. July 2nd, public hearing regarding fees and public records requests. Some upcoming community events, May 16th. Actually, we just talked about that, the Six River Trail, in conjunction with Park Board meeting. And on the 16th, also, the Woodland Action Center meeting happens at 6:30 at the Woodland.
And I'm going to correct that one. I believe they're holding that a day early when I'm looking to, that's correct. The Tuesday, it's on the 15th, right? I think it's on the 15th. Okay, that's actually on the 15th. They moved it this month, sorry.
That's all I have.
Can I add one more thing to that?
Yes.
Events.
Go ahead.
On Saturday, the VFW will be holding a brunch, blueberry pancakes, sausage, eggs, fruit, juice, and coffee from 9 to 1. Invite you all to come and help support our local veterans so that we can help support our local veterans. We found a veteran whose yard was in horrible shape and grown all over, and the city,
Code enforcement.
Code enforcement,
Yep.
thank you, couldn't find anybody to help him, and he was getting ready to go to surgery. So JJ told me he was a veteran, and I got a hold of the VFW, and we went down and cleaned up the yard. So it's no longer a eyesore, and we will continue to help him as he needs. And those are the kinds of things that we do, so we appreciate you helping us by coming and having breakfast with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for Mr. Boyce? Okay. City Attorney? Nothing to report. That's always a good sign, I think, right? When the attorney says, I have nothing. All right. Mrs. Ripp?
Yes, some of the things we've been working on in the clerk's office, we're working on the annual report for 2017. It's our annual financial report that's due to the state auditor on May 30th. We have lots of hours taking to prepare that for review, and then submit that, and we'll be moving forward to the finance committee as well, and the council. Part of the 2018 report is including a pilot project for the DOT financial reporting, which is usually due July 31st, but we're doing that as part of the online reporting and trying it this year. Again, we received the Standard & Poor's bond rating upgrade. We are happy to announce that the city received an upgraded bond rating from a AA- previously to the new A+. This is due to the stable economy and the financial practices of the city, so kudos to the staff and council. The finance team spent time reporting the financial conditions of the rating company to achieve this. Current bids that we're working on are for janitorial services and our newspaper publication for legal notices. This will be coming to the finance committee for review and recommendation for further council action. We're also working on proposals for city website design and study. Under IT and technology, our city hall server upgrade is underway and nearly complete. We expect to go live with our Office 365 conversion beginning this Friday through the weekend. Our IT consultant, Colby Barron, has reported that we're getting notices at the end of the week that says all email will not be accessible this weekend, so be aware of that. We're looking at scheduling the install to the new Vision payroll portal upgrade and the new Vision fixed asset module. We're going to be demoing the backflow software with the director and myself. And we reviewed and updated our 2018 IT upgrade inventory list. We continue to receive quite a few public records requests. According to our tracker, we've had 44 year to date, and these are required to be tracked, and then we have to report those to the state. It's called JLARC, beginning in 2018. We also sent notices out to the hotel motel tax recipients about the monies that they have received and their visitor counts, and this is due to the state by May 30th as well. They are celebrating Municipal Clerks Week, and we again are inviting the public to attend our open house on Thursday from 2 to 2. We applied for, I reported previously, we applied for a Secretary of State Local Records Grant application. Unfortunately, we were not successful in that. We are meeting with some of their staff, and they're going to give us more tips on resubmitting for round 2. Our surplus sale, we're working on preparing the documents to declare a number of items surplus and set an auction date. We processed a few claims for damages, one being the police chief's vehicle. The chief and the police department and my office have been working together to process that claim. We did get a check for $484. The chief was involved in an accident where somebody else hit him.
Thank you for clarifying. He feels better now.
The vehicle will then be picked up at a salvage company, by the insurance company. Other claims we're working on with Public Works are the city restroom vandalism and contractor liens on the bond for the Big Rock Construction Fire Station project. We, as was mentioned earlier, we onboarded some new hires. Debbie Walker, a part-time clerk who's in records in the county, Paul Uninsky, police officer, Bruce Sloniker, water treatment plant operator, Emilio Foden, student engineering intern, and Dylan Oliver, parks labor seasonal, and upcoming John Jenkins, utility service worker. We have a number of council and committee vacancies. We advertised and are getting applications for those. City Council position 7, was mentioned earlier. Park Board, Planning Commission, and Civil Service. Most of that information is available on our website if the openings are still active. And we encourage anybody that's interested to apply for those positions. And then they will be reviewing those and the mayor will be making a recommendation and reporting back to the council for appointments. So if you have any questions, please feel free. I'm happy to discuss.
We had a record number since I've been here of folks apply for all those positions, so that's good. I think that says a lot about council and City Hall right now and how things are going. I think that people want to get involved, and I appreciate that. But like Mrs. Ripp said, if you're interested, now's an opportunity to step forward. So we appreciate those who have stepped up. Questions for Mrs. Ripp? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Ripp. Chief Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for and members of the City Council for the proclamation. That was pretty cool. It was more rewarding to have the chaplains here representing the law enforcement community. The cool part about that is I saw them all Friday. We were part of the Every 15 Minutes program just this past Thursday and Friday. Sergeant Keller and Officer Swenson did a fantastic job. They have a great rapport with, Sergeant Keller and Officer Swanson's passion for the youth of our community certainly shows when we're involved in things like that. So it was a privilege to be able to give my couple-minute speech to these high school seniors, and went to the extreme 2 weeks ago, and we got to hang out with preschoolers all day. So Sergeant Keller was involved in that. Carla and Donnie were involved in that, and a couple of officers swung by, and so it was those non-enforcement activities that we conduct are way more rewarding than the actual enforcement activities where we go out and have to make new friends and tell people they're doing stuff wrong. So it was a privilege for us to be involved in those type of non-enforcement activities. But on a serious note, last month was a banner month for us, once again, for calls for service. We did the same month last year, April, we did 278 more calls just in the month alone than we did compared to last year. So we're continuing to do more with less. We try to make these efforts to do these services to folks, and we're getting real skinny, but we want to maintain that professional excellence that the citizens of Woodland expect of us. So we're going to push and continue to do what we need to do to keep the community safe. And one of the payoffs was just today. One of the officers, or a couple of the officers, unlocked the car for a lady and her baby was stuck in the car. So she brought us cookies and They were pretty cool.
Oh, here, I've got one, I'll show. I didn't eat it yet because I was waiting so I can share.
Really cool. She put our,
That's nice.
kind of looks like our patch with WPD on top. It was really awesome to get those type of rewards, which don't come very often. So I want you all to know that your police officers are doing an outstanding job and representing our community well. And I think that from our Facebook posts, from our conversations with people in town, we're doing what we need to do to make these folks feel safe. So that's my report.
Thank you, Chief. Questions for the Chief?
I just have a comment.
Mrs. Graham?
I was visiting with this is about the every 15-minute situation that you did last week. I was able to visit with one of the mothers who was a recipient of the visit from the department.
I'm glad you brought that up.
She knew it was going to happen, of course, but the way they approached it, you would have thought it was real. She doubted them for a few minutes that, oh my gosh, did something really happen that she was not aware of? And with that happening, she was able to go to the school the next morning and give her talk and relate those true feelings to the group. So with that, she was hoping to save somebody's life.
And the situation that she recounted was valuable. There was quite a few high school seniors that were crying, just relating to what experience she had. And of course, she wasn't allowed to talk to her daughter, who was the alleged victim. So there was no cell phone coverage or anything like that. We took all the cell phones away from the kids that were involved in the program. And so for those of you that aren't familiar with the Every 15 Minutes program, it's a program to encourage our students, our seniors, to make the correct choices this time of year. Because we have driving while intoxicated, collisions, incidents, accidents all the time. And you'll hear of some of those because we're in the middle of prom season. And everybody's celebrating the next chapter in their lives, and some of those individuals don't make it to that next chapter because of silly choices that have occurred. So we encourage these students to make the correct choice, and they hear stories of the things that we go through when we cover these type of collisions and that type of stuff. So I think it's valuable. I've been involved in the program in some way, shape, or form for 30 years, and it's always an eye opener when you sit through some of these presentations that these parents make on behalf of their deceased children.
All right, well, on that, we'll move on. It's a valuable program. It's a valuable program. Chief Jackson.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, on a happier note, I'm pleased to report that as of today, we are operating out of the facility next door. As you know, there were...
All right. There may or may not have been a few hiccups, is what I'm hearing.
There were a few hiccups, including the radios, alerting, a number of things, none of which fell on Public Works. I have to say that Tracy and her staff were certainly phenomenal in helping pull that all together and get us under. So we're happy to be in there now and moving along there. This month, we also completed promotions for captains. So as we added a crew in service last year to the district, this now has where every crew has an assigned supervisor. So that's going well and helping us progress. We will also be having an intern this summer. We have our interns normally through the community college program that are response-oriented interns, but I'll be taking on an intern in my group with community risk reduction. There'll be a graduate intern helping us kind of refine some of our public education, public outreach, target hazard analysis, community risk assessment stuff. So we're excited for that. And with those, we have, thanks to your vote of confidence, we've fully engaged Fire Marshal Services for new construction in the city, and that is going well, and we're happy to be engaged in that. And one last piece, I sent out to the Public Safety Committee a link for some review of response data. It's a web link with some interactive maps and stuff, so you can pull up Woodland or the whole district or any station or any company types of responses, and it produces a map of where those responses were. So now the Public Safety Committee's had a chance to look at that, we'll look at that forward on to the rest of the council for your review as well. That's all I have. Unless there's any-
When's the ribbon cutting or the open house?
Well, because the timeline was fluid, we have not said that yet, but we will be having a public open house at the station next door, and we'll get that scheduled for, probably be on a Saturday at time, that would be a good time for public engagement. We'll keep you posted on that, hopefully have that scheduled within the next week or so.
All right. I know we give you a hard time, but I thought you were supposed to be there in October.
We did too.
We're a few months behind. Well, I'm excited for you. How's it going over there? Is everyone, how many days have you been there?
Today.
Oh, really? Oh,
In some form or another, about 13 hours.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll have to swing by my way out through there. All right.
It's,
I know they would love to see me.
Well, I'm certainly would be delighted to have your presence.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Questions for Chief Jackson? All right. Mr. Goddard?
So, you started to see some residential development coming on Sequoia, so we have 4 building permits for the projects on Sequoia. AM/PM up at exit 21 across from the Taco Bell. Their building permits are almost ready to issue. They have
22.
22, not 21. Sorry, 22. Yeah, sorry, 22 across from Taco Bell. They are still working out some last-minute stormwater issues, so they don't have their stormwater figured out. We have a new boundary line adjustment for the old Hanson's Hotel site next to the Astro gas station. So we'll see a development on that done, applications for that pretty soon. We also have Beyond RV site. They've got much of the site graded, but they're still working on stormwater-related issues, so we're waiting to hear some additional information from their engineer about design. Trailer Depot, which will be up at exit 22, across from the Arco AM/PM, so it's across from the Verizon store. They're not fully complete, but they have their applications in and they're ready to get started as soon as they can get the go-ahead. The Planning Commission, we canceled the May meeting and we pushed it back to June 11th, which is a Monday. And then our normal Thursday meeting in June had to be rescheduled to the next Monday. So we're going to have 2 Planning Commission meetings in June, the 11th and the 25th. So it's the off weeks from when you'll be meeting in this room. The June 11th meeting will be primarily the public hearing for the wireless communication facilities ordinance that has been drafted, and it's been sent to several organizations out in the private sector that deal with wireless facilities, including AT&T and a wireless policy organization out of Seattle. So they'll be reviewing that and giving us some input, hopefully doing presentations for the Planning Commission about the needs of the wireless communication facility, so that they have a little background to help them make better, have a better understanding of the ordinance. And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do June 5th, 25th. It's a potential continuation date for the wireless facility meeting, but also have some discussions about residential zoning and issues that the Planning Commission would like me to start addressing. And July, unfortunately, we have another scheduling issue with July, so we're going to have to reschedule July probably the next week. So the Planning Commission has nothing this month, 2 in June, and a late one in July. The Transportation Improvement Program, the TIP, which was discussed last time we were here a couple weeks ago, we were asked to do some more education and outreach, so We have gone to the planning commission, had a discussion with the planning commission. I am scheduled to do a presentation to the Chamber of Commerce May 22nd at lunch. We'll also be doing 2 open houses on Wednesday, May 23rd in this room. One of them will be from 12 to 2 and during the day, and then I'll have another one in the evening from 6 till 8, also in this room. So those are scheduled. And also, I talked to JJ about during Planters Day on the Saturday, the busiest hours he thought would be between about 9 to 2. So I have talked to Tracy about opening up one of the bay doors at the old City Hall. I can set up some tables and some maps and visuals. So I will sit out there on the Saturday while everybody's out there at the vet races and all of that stuff. See if I can't catch some more input with them. People who might not normally come to these type of meetings. So we're getting the word out there, and hopefully we'll get a bunch of additional input for you, and then I'll probably bring it back to you in July. Potentially take the planning commission in July, so I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes, and I might ask you for additional idea whether you want me to take it back to the planning commission, or whether you're just happy to have it come to you directly. And that's it for community development.
Questions for Mr. Goddard? Got a lot of stuff in the hopper. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Goddard. Ms. Coleman.
Have I told you how much I love this guy? All the research done, thank you, Travis. All right, so I have a couple things. We'll start, with here. Thank you very much, Pete. On here, we'll just kind of start, if you can see what that is. So if you guys are familiar with the island, I call it the Moose American Diner Island. Right there, you know where the islands are right there? On the, okay, so if you've noticed, they've been overgrown with moss and grass and everything else. They look like crud. So they aren't owned by us. They're owned by WashDOT. And I was sick of looking at it, so I took the jail crew out there and I said, clean her up. And so you can see on the far end, that's been cleaned, and then this Wednesday, the other one will be cleaned. So that'll look nice when you're coming from out of town into the city. You have a little nicer, clean look, so that's been done. And then, also this is Atlantic, so if you go down Atlantic now, Atlantic has been finished. We started to clean up, as you know, a few months back, and then we had some other things going on, the park opening, etc. So we have now completed Atlantic cleanup, so if you go down a little bit, so there's another view of it, so that's all nice and clean now. And then if we go on to Gary Park, now if you look here, you know, we talked about this, so most of you guys were all at the Gary Park opening, grand opening with Arbor Day celebration. And so if you look there, I don't know if you can really see from the picture, kind of hard to tell, but there's snow in the background. So we started that last year, and just kind of a couple pictures of the cleanup. And there's our Northwest Steelhead Association on their volunteer days coming out to the park, and then there's our load of gravel coming in, and then we have, you know, laying the concrete for the picnic tables and benches. So it's been a long process, but now today you can see there's our park. It's beautiful. I went down there today, took pictures of people sitting out there and enjoying it, picnic tables. We have new signs out. I just really think it turned out really well. And it's not me, it's the whole community came together, and it's just a beautiful park now. So if you haven't gone out there, go out and enjoy the park and get some use out of it. And then, next page, sorry, Pete. And then next page, downtown, if you can see, our trees have come to life. So we did prune them pretty heavy, and as you can see, they've all come to life. They look great. You look
Starting
down,
to sweat
they look
again.
nice and clean.
Starting to sweat.
Oh, don't sweat. Don't
I was
let
very
it
happy.
sweat.
I was telling Mr. Boyce that I was driving through, and I told my
They
wife,
look beautiful.
I said, what do you think of the trees? They're blooming. Thank God.
They are.
But wait till next year, they're going to look even better.
And they will, and they will. And again, just everybody needs to remember that this wasn't done on a whim. We have
Yeah.
arborists involved, professionals involved, and so, you know, it's all good.
They're looking
So-
good.
Yeah, so then if we go to the next page, as you can see there, there's one of the examples of the trees, and then those full bloom. And as you can see in the very background, we've updated our downtown parking signs. So if you go lower, that's what our new public parking signs look like. So we've upgraded those. look a little bit new and revitalized. I think they look really nice, and that was at a request of the mayor, and I think it's a great idea. So thank you, Mayor, for that. Is that all that I have there?
Very happy.
That's it. Okay, so that's it on that. I always like to do pictures. I think they're better. And then, so I'll just kind of go over a little bit more on what we recorded in the committee. So, as you guys are familiar, there was an approval of a screw press operation that we had go at the wastewater treatment plant, and that screw press operation has been completed. It's been up and operational for almost 2 months now. It's been saving the city thousands of dollars in transportation fees when we're transporting, instead of water, disposing of the water, and they call it cake. I don't call it cake, but they call it cake. So we aren't paying for disposing of water anymore.
Don't ruin cake.
So we are saving thousands of dollars a month on that, which is wonderful. And then we had an O&M manual upgrade that needed to be turned into the Department of Ecology, and that's 75% completed to include the screw press. And so we should get that completed here in the next couple of months. In addition to that, we have the City Hall facade was supposed to be completed by now. Unfortunately, the contractor that bid the project has had a family emergency, so asked if he could postpone that for a few weeks, and I obviously said that's fine. So he's going to be starting in a couple weeks with the City Hall facade. Our hope and intention is to have that completed by Planters Day. At Horseshoe Lake, as you guys are well, we had approval of spending some park funds for that, and so I am in the midst of ordering the bleachers for the park, and I hope to have those in by Planters Day. And I've gone out and walked the perimeter for the electrical outlets for the park, and we've come up with a good idea between Paul, who works at our parks and sees where people are operating and working, and Dennis Rip and myself and Gary. So we've decided that the electrical outlets in the park will be all at a base level that you could actually drive on, so it won't interfere with the pathway. So we'll be working on getting the electrical put up in the park, and we hope that's in time for Planters Day. Well, that I cannot guarantee, but I'm working on it. The dog run, the dog park that we have proposed, which was approved to spend the park impact fees, I am working with WashDOT to reduce the size of the property. As you know, I presented in a previous council meeting that there was a large piece of property that WashDOT owns, which was an old parking lot. And WashDOT, one of their concerns is when they proposed to the city council for a solution at exit 21, they have stated, and I brought this up numerous times, there's a possibility of a roundabout proposal. And if we accept that, their concern is we may have to use a little bit of this property. So what I went back to them and said, that's fine, we don't need that. It's the portion of the property that has been out there and driven there, it's all segregated off by utility poles that are laying on the ground. They're talking about the portion from the utility pole to Lewis River Road, which we wouldn't be using anyway, so be it. So I'm asking for that portion from their back, so that shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to move forward on that a little bit more. WashDOT is a little slow in their, only in not the guys that I've been working with, but as far as their real estate division goes. So that'll take a little bit more time. Embassy Park wetlands. So up at Embassy Park, we have a wetland strip in between the housing up there, and we had some trees removed. They were cottonwoods, kind of like the same type of cottonwoods that were at Gary Park, and they are not safe. They're tall and rotten, and so our concern is that one of them may fall over on a home. So what we're going to do is we've actually put out the RFP to have somebody come and bid on removal of the other 13 trees, and then we'll be planting other trees in place of the cottonwoods that were taken out of that location. So I'll talk a little bit about grants. Oh, I wanted to tell you a little bit more, about our Horseshoe Lake milfoil treatment. You know, that was completed last year, and there is no milfoil. We had some pictures taken last week. There's no evidence of milfoil in there. The pictures came back nice and clear, and that's wonderful. And we have plans, we have funds available to do this month's testing for Horseshoe Lake, because we test Horseshoe Lake every month right now. And then we're going to go probably to a different testing schedule after that, but we want to go ahead and use the grant dollars from years past to do our final testing this year. And then we're working on a proposed plan, and we have a Horseshoe Lake committee meeting this week to go over that. So I'm going to go into grants, and we've been working in our department on a lot of grant submittals. And so I'm just going to kind of go over some of them that we've submitted. So, and we're working on additional ones. So we have submitted for the Recreation and Conservation Office grant, RCO grant, and we submitted for a $500,000 grant. And of that grant, it requires a 50% match. This grant is only available every 2 years. So we would be able to use park impact fees for that match. And we've asked for the grant dollars for a splash zone similar to that, a little splash and play park, similar to that of the center. 10 concrete garbage cans for Horseshoe Lake Park. 6 ADA picnic tables for Horseshoe Lake Park. Completion of a gravel path at the end of Horseshoe Lake Park where we currently have the silt fence, and it would accommodate ADA as well. And then also an ADA fishing dock, and 850 linear feet of fencing to be used as needed, part of the splash zone, etc. So we'll find out in July of next year whether we receive these dollars. So hold please. And then we applied for a safe routes to school program, a grant application we submitted on the 27th for sidewalks along Lewis River Road from the intermediate school down to Gun Club Road. We've asked for sidewalks, a planter strip, and then we're going to do an alternate bike path to get kids off of Lewis River Road to go back up Gun Club and go in the backside of the school. So that grant dollar we submitted was for about $1.3 million. We've opted a $145,000 match, which is roughly about 10%, which isn't very much. Of that $20,000, the Woodland School District said they would put in. $20,000 WashDOT said they would contribute for us. And then we have about $100,000, $105,000 that we would use for traffic impact fees and private donations for the rest of the funds. We will not hear until June. Hold, please.
Of next year.
On that one, of next year. So that's why we keep on plunking away. Okay, in regards to, I applied for an AWC 2018 Municipal Excellence Award when I first came on board. And there are certain categories that they advertise every year, and of those categories, we didn't really have a project going on since I was new to the city that really fit, so I thought, well, I'm just going to throw Make a Difference Day in there, and I kind of put it in there. It didn't get chosen, but the good thing is that we're going to be recognized in the AWC 2018 Annual Conference Brochure. So our name will be out there, and we're recognized for what we're doing in the community. And then we'll apply next year for another award, and we'll get it next year. Okay, so then we did school route improvement funding. So we completed an application in, March, I think, in March for the school walk improvement funding, and I asked for $150,000, and that was to put in some flashing signs along State Route 503 around the intermediate school, some automated photos, speed signs that show what your speed is on SR 503, some flashing signs at the middle school along Buckeye and Park, and we received notification on the 17th that we were not selected, no surprise to me. But they did want to let us know that there was $1.5 million of requests for the funds, and that was 3 times the amount of funding that they had available. So it doesn't surprise me because everybody's going for funding now because everybody's low on funds. So not to worry, we've contacted them, and we're going to find out where we can improve our application for next year. So hold please. So I applied for the Frank L. and Arlene G. Price Foundation funds for purchasing the old flagpole for the post office, and I haven't heard back on that yet, but we're waiting to hear on that, so I'll let you know what happens on that one. By this Friday, I will have an application and grant completed for the pedestrian and bicycle program, and that will be from Gun Club Road to Garrick Street. And so what we're doing is the same concept as from Gun Club Road up to the intermediate school, where we're looking to put in sidewalks and planter strips, and then also an alternate bike route that would go up Insel, I think across Willow to tie into the Gun Club bike route that we had to get kids off the street with their bikes. That'll be about $1.3 million, and we'll be looking at a $145,000 match as well, which the school said they will contribute funds. WashDOT is committed to contributing funds for us, and we'll be using transportation impact fees for matching dollars on that. So that'll be submitted, and we won't find out till June or July of next year, whether or not we receive that. Now, I will tell you that the first $1.4 million grant is a statewide grant, and so everybody in the state of Washington is competing for that money. It's very hard to get, but to get our name out there, and if we don't get it, we go the following year. The pedestrian and bicycle program is just within our region, so we might have a better opportunity for that, especially since WashDOT is backing us, so we're going to be hopeful for that one. Now, in regards to the CDBG funds that Ms. Rounds reported on, that we had an additional $24,000 that we received, now that we know what those dollar amounts are, we're going to put out an RFP for completing a portion of that project that I submitted. We'll also submit with the RFP alternative 1, 2, and or 3, which means that we have $100,000 out of the $171,000 that we applied for. So we're going to pick a certain portion of the project and say, here's what we want you to bid on. And then option A, alternative A, will be, in addition to that, we want to spend an additional $50,000. In addition to that, alternate B will be another $50,000. We want that contractor to bid all on the same contract, so when CDBG comes to us at the end of the year, which they regularly do, say, hey, we have an extra $100,000, is anybody ready for a project? We're ready. So we can take those funds, because some people don't spend the funds as quickly as they'd like to, and they need to be spent, because if they're not, then they don't get the funds for next year to be able to give to people. So I want to be ready to go, so we can say we're ready, and maybe we'll get the full project done, maybe we won't, but we'll be ready for it. That's all I got. Oh, yeah, that's all I got. Any questions?
Questions? Mrs. Rounds.
Have we looked into anything? Mr. Perry was here a few meetings ago and talked about benches or something.
Yes.
Have we looked into anything about that?
I have benches awaiting installation based on what I work with WashDOT, so I didn't want to go out and purchase additional benches since I purchased them for the dog park. And if that dog park doesn't go forward due to the fact that I can't negotiate something with WashDOT, I wanted to use those benches that we purchased at that location. But I also wanted to share too that I talked with our superintendent, Mr. Dennis Fripp, in regards to additional seating at the park. So in addition to the bleachers, I've asked him to put in some just additional benches that we already have there, and we might go ahead and put a couple in over across at that area as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Further questions? Thank you, Ms. Coleman. Well done. Does anybody need a break?
Yeah, let's take
You want to take 5 minutes? It's 8:10, we'll take a 5-minute break. All right. It's 8:15, we're back in session. Reports of advisory committees. Wahkiakum Council of Governments. Ms. Humberg.
Our last meeting was held on Thursday, April 26th. We approved Resolution 1807, establishment of the Economic Development District Board, and we've been working really hard on this. I also went to the County Commissioner meeting to present and to support this. This makes Cowlitz and Wahkiakum County be an entity, so that when we go to ask for money, there's a whole, the county, the cities, the entities within these two that are asking for the money. So that makes us look better and helps us get those things done. So pretty excited about that. The Service Transportation Grant was presented and approved, and we also had the following day the first EDD, Economic Development District Board meeting, at which we elected officers, approved the bylaws, and decided what days we were going to have our next meeting. And the turnout was amazing. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be a good thing. Questions?
Should do downtown as well, since you're on a roll.
Okay. Woodland Downtown Revitalization, we met April 10th. We approved the minutes from the following meeting, and the quarterly budget and monthly finance report were presented and approved. Open Up event. Jennifer provided an update on the event, working with Erica Rodman and Lady Bond, working with schools and local artists. Hot Summer Nights, JJ gave an update on the contracts and band schedules and the need for more sponsors. JJ will be updating the website. Jennifer will update Facebook page once pictures of bands and artwork for the event is prepared. Tom reviewed what the state of the trees were within the city. They hadn't bloomed yet. And there was lots of people complaining about them, so I think they're beautiful now. The tulip fundraiser for DDBR for purchasing tulips. Vivian moved and JJ seconded the purchase of $200 worth of woodland tulips if they're available, so and then we'll be selling them at Planters Day. We reviewed the agreement between the city and the DWR on the baskets and the watering, and the baskets are going to be hung soon. So the meeting, is it 2 weeks?
Next week.
Next week. So we didn't have that information at the meeting. Our next meeting is tomorrow at 9 o'clock.
Well, there's been a lot of activity down there.
Yes.
New signs, thank you, Ms. Coleman, painted the post there and got the new signs with a more unified look. A lot of the buildings have been repainted, and
And at
pretty
the very
soon.
least washed.
Yes, absolutely. We've got City Hall that's going to be taken care of as well, and I'm hearing that the building right across from City Hall is going to be pressure washed and a new mural installed at some point.
So I spoke
Yeah.
with the art teacher, and I can't remember his name, Mr. Smith. So some of the kids, the
Good.
seniors are going to be working on the murals, updating them, and then perhaps doing some new ones, and they'll do them on board so that they can put them up and take them down if they don't want them there anymore. And then some of the horticultural kids may be doing plant boxes. So we'll have pretty flowers in the boxes in front of the buildings.
Okay. Well, they put, and there's a community group has gotten together and installed new planter boxes along drought-resistant plants, and they look amazing. I was very concerned that, I tried to pick one up, there's no way. I was thinking, oh, these aren't going to last long, but yeah, I believe I tried to engage Mrs. Rip one day when she was walking out, help me pick this up, see if we can steal it. There was no budget in it, no, not at all. Yeah, we tried. All right, questions for DWR?
When the kids come down and do the painting and put in the flower box and all that stuff, are they able to get credits towards their community service requirement for that? Okay, awesome.
Oh, they were going to say something else. You were coming in, all right. AWC and legislative, our legislators from our district were in town last Tuesday and attended and got the update from Senator Braun, Representative Orcutt, and Representative DeBolt. Very positive meeting. They're gearing up for next session in January, and that will be the Big Ask session this year. As I've stated before, we didn't ask for anything. We just said thank you for supporting us, which I think has gone a long way. So I hope they're ready for when we come see them early next year. Because I think, judging by what Ms. Coleman just read off, we may be asking for some support in that grant process somewhere along the way, which is good. AWC, I don't have anything for you guys. Attended the training last week, and you already reported on that. So more to come with the legislators. They gave a positive report, and looking forward to visiting with them in the coming months. I hope to have them down for a tour of Woodland so they can see what we're trying to do. So when we come back early in the year, they'll understand why we're asking for what we're asking. All right, questions?
Just like to throw something in real quick before
Yes.
we move on. I don't know if you guys are aware, but for years, the seawall area has been really bad with our homeless camps and whatnot. And with the upcoming summer months coming along, I know a lot of kids go down there and play and fish and all that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to take a minute to recognize Chief Kelly and the police department for going down there and doing their cleanup of the area. You know, having done a few of those, I know that it can be dangerous with needles and broken glass and, you know, God knows what else. So, just great job. Thank you, and it's appreciated.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you for reminding me. I forgot. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I'll pass it on.
Yeah. Well, it can get dangerous down there with pedestrian safety and everything else, so that's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I left one thing out, I apologize. On that RCO grant that we submitted and applied for, I have a presentation in Olympia in 2 weeks, which will be at the next council meeting, so we're supposed to get some feedback for that, even though we won't know until June of next year. After the presentation that I give in Olympia, I should have some information to report.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
If anybody wants to come along and help me present, you're more than welcome.
I see no hands. Looks like you're on your own.
I could go along for moral support.
I'll pack stuff for you.
All right, we moved on to consent items on the agenda.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Humberg, seconded by Councilmember Chapman. Will clerk please take the vote?
Councilmember Plaza?
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
Councilmember Graham?
Aye.
Is that everything?
Think so.
Okay. Moving on to action items. Action item E, authorize change order number 2 and payment to Gray and Osborne for additional engineering services on lift station number 5 improvement project.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved by Councilmember Humberg, seconded by Councilmember Rounds. Councilmember Humberg.
No comment other than this needs to happen, so we need to have positive vote.
Councilmember Rounds.
Same.
Further discussion? Will clerk please take the vote on action item E?
Councilmember Plaza?
Aye.
Councilmember Graham?
Aye.
Councilmember Hubbard?
Aye.
Councilmember Chapman?
Aye.
Councilmember Rounds?
Aye.
All right. Action item E has passed. We've come to the portion for adjournment.
I make a motion. I will second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It is 8:24.
Have a nice...
It's gonna